Over the last 10 years, I've completely changed the trajectory of my life by transforming my mind and body through training, nutrition, and self-development. This is my story. So I'm going to start back in 2015 as a 16-year-old kid. Throughout my teenage years, I was extremely overweight. I was one of the heaviest kids in my year, one of the heaviest kids in my class throughout primary school, and I carried this weight with me throughout my teenage years. This was something that I got bullied on. I got bullied about my weight plenty of times, especially by lads that were a couple of years older than me. And although I was relatively confident and relatively popular within my peer group, it was something that I was self-conscious about. But at the time, I didn't cry about this. I didn't make people feel sorry for me. I took it upon myself to change. Throughout my teenage years, all that I really was concerned with was being popular amongst my friends, as most teenagers are, being good at sports. I wasn't actually ever that great at any sport, to tell the truth, as I was overweight. And to be honest, just wanted to be one of the coolest guys in town. Growing up, I thought, coming from a small town in Ireland, this was my limit, this is where I'm from, and I just want to be cool and known and liked amongst the lads in town. Now, from around the age of kind of 16 to 18, I kind of started to get into the gym, mainly to become better at team sports, to lose the additional weight that I was carrying, and also to, as every teenage guy, impress the girls. As I got more and more involved in the gym, I really fell in love with the process of training, nutrition, and more importantly, self-development. So through the years of 16 to 18, team sports became a little bit of a back priority, and my gym work and my fitness and my health became more so my main priority. So throughout this video, you'll see I use the term reinvent myself. And that is something that I've done a few times over the last few years. And I feel as though it's only natural. You know, you shouldn't go through life just being the same person, working the same job, hanging out with the same 2, 3, 4, 5 people, living in the same town. That's not the life that I want anyways. And as a statement of this, and to tell you how much I live by this, I have a tattoo of a snake on my arm. And the reason I have that is because if a snake doesn't shed his skin, he dies. So life is about transformation, it's about changing, it's about becoming a new and better version of yourself. And that's something that I've always lived by, especially since I started getting into self-development around the ages of 16, 17, 18. So I suppose the first time you could say that I transformed or I reinvented myself was when I finished school. I decided to take a year off from school and I decided to study to become a personal trainer, as that's where my passion was in health and fitness. Took the year out of school, qualified as a personal trainer at the age of 18. And from there, I went to Australia. Now, this move to Australia was probably the most transformative and pivotal moment in my time. And although it was a risk, I definitely reaped the rewards of it. There's an analogy that I like to use with a lot of clients, or even like with a lot of friends, when they're going through like a moment of uncertainty. And just bear with me now for a second, but you know, imagine there's a monkey swinging from tree to tree in the branches. And although this might sound stupid, but when that monkey is swinging from tree to tree, you're looking at that monkey and you're in awe. You're thinking, this guy is just at one with nature. He's doing his thing. He's in the wild. He's probably having the time of his life. But there is a moment of uncertainty when that monkey lets go of one tree before it grabs the next branch on the other tree. There's a moment of uncertainty. And next thing you know, it grabs onto the next branch and it's away again. And this was a moment of uncertainty in my life where I was in between branches. I wasn't too sure what was going to come next. So I went to Australia. I actually took a job in construction, which I absolutely hated. I lasted about 3-4 weeks, maybe even a little bit longer, but I knew that wasn't for me. I went to Australia to get into the fitness industry, to start the life that I wanted to live. So I took another risk. I quit the job in construction. I took a massive pay cut. While I was earning over 1 week, I was now earning over 2, if not 3 weeks. So I took a massive pay cut, but my overall happiness and fulfillment was much higher. And as a result of this, I got my foot in the door in the fitness industry. So I started working in Fitness First on Pitt Street in Sydney, Australia, as a young, ripe-faced 18-year-old or 19-year-old boy at the time. Absolutely loved it. As I said, it was my first taste of the fitness industry. It was around that time as well that I started my fitness page, or Coached by Cian is what it is known as now. So I started Cian O'Brien Fitness. Cian O'Brien Fitness was born. Again, at the time, no one from my town, my small town in Ireland, was doing anything like this. There was one other coach in my area at the time. Now, fast forward 6 years, there's like 20 something, if not 30 coaches, which is absolutely mind-boggling for such a small town. That was it. I started my career. I took a risk. I made my fitness coaching page. At the time, again, you know, I got a little bit of hate, got a little bit of kickback. When you come from a small town in Ireland, that is not necessarily the done thing to do, especially, you know, rewind 6 years ago, it very well was not the thing. Because at the time, online coaching, it wasn't what it is now. Okay, back then I knew 2 online coaches. I knew the local guy in my town, and I also knew Rob Lipsett, the OG. of the Irish fitness scene. So my time in Australia had then come to a close. I'd done a year there, I had some great experiences, met some of my best friends over there that I'm still friends with to this date. But I wanted to go back to Ireland and I wanted to go back to college to study. So I enrolled myself in GMIT for sports science and I lasted about 2 weeks. For me, going back to Ireland, I was very clear on what I wanted to do. I wanted to become an online coach. I wanted to have a coaching company. Going into sports science, I was studying onion cells, Bunsen burners, doing mathematics, like things that I was just not naturally good at. And I also did not see the correlation between that and between getting clients' results. So I dropped out of GMIT. To tell the truth, over those 2 weeks in Galway, didn't went to college that much. Had a good time out drinking, partying, making friends, but I decided to drop out of GMIT and I enrolled myself into UL, which is another university in Ireland, and studied a very similar course, which is exercise and sports, health and fitness, something like that. Basically a lower down version of sports science. Again, going into this course, I was very clear on I want to be an online coach. I want to be in the fitness industry, helping people transform their lives. Now, over my 2 years spent in UL, I had some great memories. I made some great friends and I do not regret my time in that whatsoever. But my time was made up of going out, partying nearly every single night and just not doing the things that I wanted to do or that I said I was going to do with my life. While I was studying inside in Limerick, COVID happened and the world was on lockdown. So during this time, I was actually still living up in Galway while studying down in Limerick, really enjoying myself, having some great time with my friends, going out, drinking, house parties, all that kind of stuff. Then I had a car crash and that was a bit of a wake-up call for me, or should have been a bit of a wake-up call for me. It was a relatively bad car crash. I had bought a new Audi. I was absolutely in love with the car. It was exactly what I wanted it. All black, tinted windows. I had the car 3 weeks and I completely wrote it off. Driving home after a night out in Galway, having not slept, rolled over into the next day, and me and my dumbass decided that would be a good idea to drive all the way home, fell asleep behind the wheel and wrote off my car. Now, I was very lucky to get out of that alive, relatively unscathed. The car was completely wrote off. I drove straight through 2 walls, a fence, and at the time, that should have been a big moment for me, and it was, but I still found myself getting back into old habits. Then, New Year's Eve, 2020, turning 2021, I'll never forget it. We were at a house party in my college house in Galway, and I was just sitting there in the corner, just not enjoying myself, just thinking, I've been doing this every weekend, or nearly every night of the week for the last 2 years. And don't get me wrong, it's fun and I had some great times, but I've been looking at the same people, talking about the same thing, and genuinely, I just got so sick of it. I just thought, no, that's it, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. So about 6-7 days later, I decided to go to Dubai. Flew to Dubai, and again, another massive transformative moment for me in my life was that first trip to Dubai, January 2021. I came over to Dubai for the first time. It was locked down back home in Ireland, and I saw with my own eyes what other online coaches were capable of doing, how they could live the life they wanted, how they could follow their passion, how they could build a coaching company. And that's when I knew it's all or nothing. I'm all in on this. And that's when I had no plan B. Came back from Dubai and I decided to sign up for my first photo shoot prep. I got my first professional coach, shout out to Ross Byrne. He's probably still the person who has had the most influence on me and my coaching career ever. Shout out to Ross, great guy. I hired my first coach and I moved home and I pretty much locked myself away for 6 months. Again, a time where I reinvented myself. No social events, just me, my laptop, following a passion, working in my front room. If I have any old clips, I'll play it over this now for you. Up at 5 a.m. every morning, reading a book, just doing anything and everything I could to build a coaching company, to help other people change their lives through health, through fitness, through nutrition, through self-development. I had been there myself and I was so passionate about it that I knew I would move hell and earth to get myself there. So I locked myself away. I'm a big believer that if you put yourself away for 6 months and just focus on yourself, you can put yourself 5-6 years ahead in life. And I've done this a few times. So I was signed up for my first photo shoot prep. I was back living at home, focusing on solely nothing but my coaching business and helping my clients and building a team. I did my first photo shoot in May 2021. And then after this time, I decided to go to Marbella for the summer. And again, that was another moment for me where I could see what I was doing. Now, around this time as well, just prior to going to Marbella, I had my exams for college, my second year exams. So my lecturer, who was supposedly teaching me the subject, teaching me health, teaching me fitness, teaching me how to become a personal trainer or an expert in the fitness industry, was coming to me for coaching. At the time, when I had exams, I also had check-ins on the same day. And I'm going to leave it up to you to decide which one I decided to do. Then I moved to Marbella for the summer, and I said, right, that's it. Pulled myself out of college, dropped out, told all my family that I deferred the year. So if any of you are watching this, apologies. Dropped out of college. Again, giving myself no plan B, no backup. It's either I make it or I don't make it. Again, that trip to Marbella was transformative for me. Got around some nice people, met some good connections. Again, other coaches that wanted to follow their passion and build a career for themselves in the fitness industry. Spent 3 months in Marbella, came home, continued doing my thing. At the time, I started to build up a bit of speed. That photo shoot prep for me was a very transformative moment for my coaching career because I documented the journey. I started the YouTube for the first time. You can go back and you can watch my very first YouTube video. I'm clearly not a very good YouTuber because I still haven't hit 1,000 subscribers. But I started making my first YouTube video in 2021. Now it's been stop-start since then. This is probably the most consistent I've ever been with YouTube. But I make YouTube because I want to document my journey. That's the only reason why I do YouTube. I want to sit back when I'm 50, 60, 70 and watch it the whole way through and just look at my life. So move back from Marbella and continue to push the needle forward, okay? Continue to meet my clients in person, continue to build a coaching company and a brand that I'm very proud of to this day. So May 2022, I left home again and I moved to Manchester. For me, it was an opportunity to get around like-minded people, to continue to follow my passion and to put in the work in terms of bodybuilding, train out one of the best facilities in the UK, FLF, which to this date is still my favourite gym in the world. Fast forward another year, May 2023, I started prep for my first bodybuilding show. This was also a very good year for me personally and for the business, as we did our first team photo shoot and I really started to carve my way into the coach that I wanted to be and started to build a name for myself more and more within the industry, having walked the walk and having done my first bodybuilding competition. 2023 was also the year that I had my first client step on stage in a bodybuilding show, which again was a massive, rewarding and fulfilling moment for me. Personally, I'll always get more satisfaction out of seeing my clients succeed. Whether that's a lifestyle client who's after dropping a life-changing amount of body weight, whether that's someone who's after completing their first photo shoot, whether that's someone who's just after building up more confidence in themselves and building more muscle mass, whether that's someone who's competing on stage at a bodybuilding show, I'll always derive my satisfaction from being a coach because that is where my passion is. And the one thing that I probably should have put at the start of this video as well is I have actually been coaching in one way or another long before I started my coaching career as an online coach. Growing up, I was always helping out with younger underage teams with the hurling, football, rugby, helping out with summer camps. I always had a passion for coaching in some avenue or another. Obviously, with my passion now being in fitness, that's just kind of where I moved that into. 2024 was still very much more of the same. I was continuing to live in Manchester. We completed 2 more group photo shoots with Team CBC. We had multiple clients on stage. Also, we had our first win last year with a client on stage, and we helped change hundreds of more lives through physique development and self-development too, because I do believe that both go hand in hand. With my style of coaching, it's not just about the physique, it's about the mindset, it's about the day-to-day, it's about the enjoyment and becoming your most happiest and most confident self. 2024 was also a massive year for me personally and Team CBC as we hired for the first time. So we brought Massey on board as a coach. A lot of you guys will know who Massey is already. Massey has been involved with me in one way or another over the last 2 to 3 years. Initially starting off as our videographer, so he covered a lot of my stuff, especially throughout my prep in 2023. Continued to work with me all the way through 2024, then becoming a client on the team, having gone through a life-changing transformation, which I can pop up on the screen here. And now as a coach on the team, being able to help you guys transform your life, your mindset, and also being able to relate to you guys. And as you can see, a lot has changed over the last 10 years. Going back to that 15-year-old kid who was self-conscious, who wanted to be the man about town, who all he cared about was being cool and liked, getting into pubs underage, knacker drinking at the weekend, which if you don't know what that is, it's basically just going out and drinking in the field, getting chased off the guards because you're underage drinking, all the stuff that, a lot of 15-year-olds do. But a lot has changed since then. I've been through many different, I suppose, phases within my life, and I've reinvented myself a couple of times. And one of the reasons I'm making this video now is to hold myself accountable. because I am going to reinvent myself again. 2025 is going to be a big year. It's going to be a year of change. It's going to be a year of transformation for my clients and for me. I'm going to hold myself to a much higher standard, and over the next 10 years, I'm going to demolish what I've done the last 10 years. So if you are watching this video and you are like me in any of my other phases in life, that's totally okay. A lot of people will be like, you changed, bro. Why did you change? Why don't you hang out with us? Yeah, I changed. That's the whole meaning of life. You're supposed to change. You're supposed to level up. Some people will come along with you for the journey. Other people will be insecure, to be jealous, to be afraid of change, and they'll try to tear you down. I am nowhere near where I want to be yet in life. Personally, professionally, physique-wise, I'm still really, in my opinion, scraping the barrel, but I will work relentlessly to get there. My mission is to help as many people as I can transform their mind and body through training, through nutrition, through physique development, through self-development, just as I did when I was 15, 16, all the way up to where I am now. And again, I'm still not my final version. And that's the whole point of life, in my opinion. I'm going to get to another 5 years, and then another 5 years, and another 5 years, and I will have gone through more phases, continuing to level up. That is, in my opinion, the meaning of life. You don't want to stay the same. You want to transform. You want to become a better version of yourself. And if you don't, cool. It's not for everyone, but for me, that's what I need. That's what I need to get out of life. Otherwise, I feel stagnant. And even when I am moving forward, and even when I am making small progress, I still feel stagnant. Like, I had some mad delusional beliefs in terms of where I was going to be when I'm 25. If I shared those with you, you wouldn't believe what I thought I'd have achieved by now. And these are goals that I set myself, and I clearly remember setting myself these goals when I was working in Australia in the gym. I was covering reception one evening back in 2019, writing down what I want to have achieved by the time I'm 25. I'm nowhere near that yet, but I'm going to get there, okay? Don't let time dictate your progress. It is super important to have a deadline on those goals, but it's also super important to be able to push the goalpost back further. And obviously with life, things changes. Your interests change, your friends change. That's totally cool. Life is about transformation, about leveling up. And I hope you guys that are watching this at home are ready to level up this year. If you do want help leveling up, as always, my inbox is open. Shoot me a DM on Instagram, send me an email, whatever suits yourself. And as always, guys, if you've liked the video, please like, subscribe, comment, all that YouTuber shit, and we'll see you in the next one.